Welcome back to Riftbreaker. My name is Nilaus. Now that I've completed the campaign a couple of times, then I wanted to share some more of the things that I've learned and some tips and tricks that may not be obvious from the game. So I did a previous video, check that out if you want more tips and tricks. But here are some that I didn't mention in previous. Some of the things were mentioned in comment sections, some of them mentioned during live streams, and some of the things I've found out myself. But let's go in and take a look at some of these things. If you like these videos, these tutorials, guides, tips and tricks, then be sure to hit the like button, as I will be making more of these for various games that I play if there's an interest. Let's take a look. Here's the first tip. This is about cultivators and harvesters, basically the plants that plant plants. And it's actually twofold. First of all, the tip is get on with it, do it. It's amazing. It's unlimited resources. I have a video about how to unlock this as unlimited resources, and once you do that, you really don't need any of the rare resources anymore, because you will get like an absolute insane amount from it from here. You can see in each of these, this is producing almost 4 carbonium, 3.3 ironium, and then 1.8 hasenite, and there's 2 of them, and this is just this little area. That is one thing. It just uses a bit of power and a bit of water, which isn't really very much. So get building these. The tip though, that is maybe not obvious, and that's because every other game does it different than this. See, this is the area highlighted on the map, and you would think that this is the area that needed in order to get the maximum utilization, but that's not actually the case. And the way that it seems to work is that you have here 9 drones. Each of these have 4 drones, and if they have 2 of those with 4 drones, then you have 8 drones harvesting, 1 and 9 drones planting. That means we can harvest almost all of the stuff that's being planted. The thing is, if we look carefully at what's going on here, we will see some of those being planted. Maybe we'll get something out here that's being planted. Yep, that's the one getting planted. As soon as it's planted, it's ready for harvest. There is no incubation time. It's not like the small one here will grow into a big one one day. Nope, it'll just continue to be a small one. It basically goes out, finds a spot, then determines how big it wants to make it based on how much space is available, and then it makes it immediately. Then another drone comes out and picks it up and brings it back home and harvests some materials. There we go, it's already got harvested. So you can see there's not any time that it's not like you need a lot of space because it plants the seeds and then it'll grow up, and it takes 10 minutes to grow up, and that means you need a lot of space so that you can have many different stages of farming. That's not how it works. It simply plants them, a drone comes out, picks it up, it's all good, and that means you don't need a lot of space for this. That's the non-obvious trick. You just need a bit of space. I think that my take on it would probably be, I mean, I think it looks so lovely, and I have infinite space basically, so I don't really feel that there's a need for making it congested. But if you really just want to crank out tons of resources, you can make it a lot closer than this. I would say that you probably, since this one has 1, 2, 3, I would say that you probably need twice as much room as this takes up for each one, and then you don't need more space than that. So you can basically make like rows of it. That would be one way of doing it, if you want to do that. There is another thing that I've heard mentioned as a comment, and that was that you could place research stations nearby and gain familiarity with them. I have now tested it, and after half an hour of just sitting next to it, I don't get any familiarity. So I think that is not true. Maybe you're seeing different results, but I don't see that research station next to these are actually doing anything.
It looks like an earth.
Alright, so the next tip we have up here with our very expensive fusion power plants Mark III, and the tip is, if you look at here in the research tree, yes, in the research tree, where is it then? Well, that's difficult. Maintenance tools, there we go. That's the one. The maintenance tools, you have several tiers. The first one, where you save 4%, is completely useless, because 4% and what you're building is pretty small. This is completely irrelevant, but when you get to the very late game and you can have 4 of these with minus 16% reduction cost, then it actually adds up to 64% reduced cost. And that means that if you are building, should we build another power plant? And I'm just clicking random buttons again. And there we go, we'll build a power plant, we'll build it here, we'll build a fusion power plant, and I will see how expensive it is. Why not? Hey, look at that, we don't have cobalt. It costs, the maximum level cost 18,000 ironium and 10,800 carbonium, versus if I did not have it, let's unequip all of that. That's unequip. unequip, unequip, and of course unequip. There we go. And I'm gonna build it again just to see how it works. Now I can't even click it now. Now I can't even afford it. There, and the maximum here, 30,000 and 50,000. So it's a massive reduction of cost, and that is obviously pretty damn valuable. And let's get maintenance. Also, what is important, since these are the highest level, they will have other bonuses on top of the maintenance things. So you can see that they'll actually do a lot of other things as well, like force field generation, and cooldown. It's all good. It's all good, and you can reroll them if you feel like it. Now, here comes the next question once you realize that. What if I deconstruct? Well, unfortunately, this one is constructed, so you can see the deconstruction price is the reduced cost. But what if you actually build something before the upgrade, like this one? You can see it keeps track of it, so that means I can take this one out, and then instead I can just build 2 new ones. And actually, it would be probably better if I turned it the right way. Let's see. There. That one. And I am just not hitting the right keys right now. Sorry about that. And there. So we deconstructed one and built 2 instead. That's pretty neat, right? That's pretty neat. And we can do again here. Look at that. Say, oh, that was built previously on the expensive build. So we'll just take it out, build 2 new ones, and still save a lot of money on that. There. That is a really cool little trick if you find yourself that you build some expensive things and you want some money back once you've built these ones. Or basically, once you watch this video, you realize how awesome it is. You're going to go in and build these 4 things, or at least research them immediately, build those 4, and then you're going to start deconstructing your power plants and rebuilding them again. By the way, you might be out of power while doing it, so be careful about it. Here's another little trick that I have never really used, but it is there. And one of the things is, like, at the end of the game, you have a silly amount of mods that you are not going to be using. Like, all of these are pretty good, but they're not the best, so you're not using them. At least I'm not. But you can find your turrets, for example, heavy artillery turrets level 2, really juicy ones. You can click that one, and yeah, hold on. So control click and do the configure one. Then you can do that. Then you can upgrade and then say, well, I want more projectiles per slot, and I want more projectiles per slot. There we go. That's the one. Actually, we'll just upgrade it, so we'll probably get even more. So as you can see that we can you can add mods to turrets. Now, adding mods in the beginning is, in my opinion, not particularly useful. Like a sentinel tower, I can have 3, or I can have 1, but it's not really worth it, is it? It's not really worth it having a single turret do that, because you have so many turrets everywhere. But you know, these turrets, if they have, they are pretty damn good, these turrets. So if we can just, oops, I wanted to do that, rate of fire, so just whatever you want in there, that will be pretty good, and I'll just make sure that they are even more juiced up if you feel like it. And the next tip, if you are a man of culture like myself, you will of course cover the entire planet in concrete. And if you look at where we are right now, I have no clue where I am. There's a nice big chunk here that I can actually build some cool things on if I wanted to. But then I'd need to build the concrete, and I see too many people do this with concrete, and I grow insane from doing it. I do it if on the acid planes, but damn it, don't do that. Especially because it doesn't even cover everything. So don't do that way. Build it in a smarter way instead, and I'll just show you how that smarter way is. It doesn't take much more time. Of course, if you wanted like the beautiful pattern that I did over in my starter base, well, then it is actually going to take a bit of time. But you can actually do something that is super easy and will get you very nice results. And here you have some additional ones. These are coming from unlocks. So click and hold, and then you run. You can even dash forward. That is, for me, this was a game changer. Maybe it's not a game changer for you, but it looks so much nicer. And it's not actually very difficult to build it. Once you learn this, then getting everything covered in concrete, as is the natural state of any planet in any game, is covered in concrete, then that is super simple. Look how simple it is. and the bubbly acid doesn't do anything. So that is from now on how you will pave your planet instead of that silly waving things around. That is how you build it, and well, unfortunately we can't make it bigger than 4x4. But this is really cool, and when I realized it, I was like, why did I opt for a pattern that is not repeatable like that? But anyway, it looks nice, this one. So that's a cool tip, and from now on I will definitely be using the 4x4 grid for all power plants from now on. For the next tip, I had to wait until there was an incoming attack, and this is incoming now. The trick is actually, if you have some mud, the monsters can't traverse the mud. That means mud on the planet like this is actually a wall. That's a wall, so if you defend here, they will not be coming in. And it also means that if you are getting a bit in trouble, you can go here. Look at that. They won't be able to touch me. If I go out here, they'll come for me. And then if I go out here they won't get. Can you just please stop killing them? Seriously. Dude. Alright, here. Can I? Look at that. Do you see these? And now they don't do anything. Now they're just stuck. So that's a pretty neat trick that if you want to fight them, just go into the mud, and then you should be you're safe out here, except for of course the ranged attacks. But that is a neat trick if you get overwhelmed. Maybe also more useful if you're playing on brutal difficulty. But then again, if you're playing on brutal difficulty, you will have found these kind of small tricks like this. But it's a neat trick. It serves both for your personal defense, and it also serves from the perspective of getting using the placement, such as I mentioned here. This is now a wall, so you only need to defend between here, and that makes it a lot easier sometimes when there are these locations. Cool. Hope that will be helpful for your future defense of Galatia 37, 57, Galatia something. The final tip for this video, hope you are enjoying this, is well, now that I built all this power, what am I going to use it for? Well, there's a point where maybe you don't bother defending all of these outposts out here and you want to congest something, or you just want a higher production. Then over here you have the synthesizers over at this location. This is where is it? There. A carbonium synthesizer. At level 1, it produces 2 carbonium at the cost of 500 energy per second, which is quite a lot of energy for very little output. But if you really look at it at the end of the game or late game, when you have like tons of fusion power plants, nuclear power plants, maybe even you can get started on when you have some gas power. You can also make like exclusive network where you build a gas power plant on a local network that's not connected to anything else, that only runs this, so you don't suddenly have it overburdening your entire network. But we have now 48,000 additional power that we don't need to use for it, so why not use it for building some carbonium? So this block here, just 4 of these, will be producing 16 per second. That's a pretty neat little number, 16 per second. It's about the same as, well, a mining outpost of sort. Do we even have a mining outpost that work? Yeah, this mining outpost here, it's about as much as 4 of these miners. They are also 4 each. Let's jump back. But the difference is whether you have locations out in the world. You also, if you should be running out of every resource, I hardly doubt it, but it could happen. Then you will say that this is 800 each. That means it's 3,200 megawatts of power. We are up to an absolute insane amount of power right now. So let's utilize that to get some more. I'm just making these as highest tier possible because of course I am. And this is a great way to get additional use additional power and also make your base more compact, and also use it for very, very late game should you even run out of resources on your base. It's easier to fend these since they're back in the base. The one thing you have to consider though is that if you build it during times when your stockpile is full, you can see we're now up to 300 of each once this is coming online. Definitely more than that actually. The ironium is coming up, and here we have the carbonium is also coming out. Come on, 300. Yeah, 300 of each. Definitely a very nice thing. But when you make it at a point where this stops, you can see here.
Shaking. It looks like an
and
earthquake
thank
is
you
coming.
for the interruption. Once these jam, there we go. This is jammed full inventory. Then you will see that they stop consuming power, and you can now see how much we're spiking on power because obviously we're not really consuming anything. So be wary of it. Maybe I would actually go so far as to say that you should build like an exclusive thing. So this one is producing 7,000, well, then you can make like 1 and 2 and throw in 1 more of that. So you can make 9 of these locations for each fusion power plant Mark III. That's a really cool idea at the late game. Just make it an isolated network, isolated electric network. That means it's never going to be sort of getting into positions, because once you start shooting and just fire away on everything you can, then the ammo factories will start working again, and that means you're going to be you will see some drop in power as well, hopefully. Oh, it actually doesn't even need carbonium. Damn it, I wanted to use carbonium. Anyway, so we're in a position where we can now actually have a use for our unlimited power. Wow, we just ran out a bit of our water. That's something we can actually fix later on. So I hope that makes sense. Those were some primarily late game advices for Riftbreaker. I could do more videos for Riftbreaker, but I think that honestly at this point it has run its course for me. I think it's a super fun game, but replaying the campaign doesn't make sense, and I don't think survival mode is particularly fun. So once something new is added to the game, I'll definitely come back. But until then I think we are moving on to other games. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, consider hitting the like button. If you are filling the comment section with good advice and tips, then I can always do another one. But I think we've been covering most of the good tips of the game that are not obvious. Thank you very much for watching. If you have not subscribed, consider subscribing to keep up with the content here on the channel. Until next time, take care, and as always, stay effective.